Most business owners think their next level is locked behind better strategy, more effort, or even the next hire. But what if the reason you're stuck isn't the strategy at all? Today, I'm joined by Josh Kerpan, entrepreneur, a farmer, and a coach out of Saskatchewan. Josh has built his business from the ground up and now works with owners across North America to help them move from being stuck in the day-to-day to actually leading their businesses with intention. His work focuses on something most people overlook: how your thinking patterns and your identity quietly cap your growth. This is a practical conversation on leadership, mindset, and what it really takes to build a business that gives you freedom, not just more responsibility. Josh, thanks for coming here. I'm excited to talk about this, and welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. Very excited to be here.
So we were just talking a little bit about the current weather. We're not quite into summer, but we are both wallowing in what I am going to anticipate being record-setting heat right now in Saskatchewan and Alberta. So,
yeah, we're not quite done seeding it. We've got some nice moisture here, but the heat we have been lacking. This is taking it a little bit extreme, but we live in a land of extremes. It seems like, so I guess it's not totally abnormal.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to ask, actually, how does this heat, in the spring in general, knowing you farm, how does that make the farmer and you feel?
I kind of quit paying too much attention to it a long time ago because we can't control a darn thing about it. So, ideally it'd be a few degrees warmer, but it's good. Crops need moisture and sun and warmth to grow, and we've got the moisture right now, which that's been the part that we've really been lacking for quite a while. So this heat will help everything pop, and it's a long ways to the finish line, so we'll take her.
Yeah. Well, everybody, we just found our first non-complaining farmer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So, Josh, let's give a little context, sure. I guess, to why you're here. Not very often, I would say, farmers, I think, are innovative people, obviously businessmen, entrepreneurs, no question about that. But you've taken that to the next level. So walk us through a little bit of your journey. You're not exactly an old guy here, so you've done a lot in a very short period of time.
Well, I guess it doesn't really feel that way. It feels like it's been a long time, but maybe, not too long. But yeah, so I guess I was born onto a farm, but my dad got out of farming and into politics actually when I was about 10 years old. So it was always kind of in my blood. I grew up around it, enjoyed it, really enjoyed the cattle side of things. So we also ranch. We don't have any right now, but went to business school out of high school, got my college degree in business, and did a few things after that. I always had an entrepreneurial spirit, I guess. That's the thing. I wouldn't say that I'm exactly a natural-born farmer. I'm a natural-born entrepreneur that took me in the farming direction. So I was working actually for a buddy and just recognized some opportunity there. That was 17 years ago now, actually, and thought, I'm going to try this. And I mean, I was just too ignorant and dumb to let fear or common sense stop me. And I really didn't have anything to lose, which is the best time to actually, take a risk and try something. So that's what I did. I kind of sold it to my dad. He was out of politics at that point in time. I said, let's start farming. He had a little bit of land left and he was gung ho. Yeah. He liked that idea pretty good. So he just said, I got to run it by your mom and we'll do that. And then we'll go. And so he ran it by mom and she came back with a very enthusiastic 2 thumbs down. So that was the end of my first partnership, and which ended up being a tremendous blessing to me. I had to figure out a way to do it on my own, and they supported me a great deal, but they weren't going to come in and nor should they have. I was 25 years old or 24 or whatever it was and had never stuck with anything more than about 6 months. So there was no real good reason to believe that I was going to make this work, but I believed it and had to figure out a way to make it work. And that's what we did. So.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah. The enthusiastic 2 thumbs down. I love that actually. Yeah. And you're right. It's, I think we probably, most of us have parents that are supporting, but there is a threshold to everything. Right. So.
Yeah. And, my dad, he just said this last winter, he said, I wish we would have done more to help you get started. And I said, absolutely not. If you'd have handed it to me, I mean, they didn't have enough land. He didn't have a farm to hand to me anyway, so it didn't matter. But had I had it handed to me on a silver platter, I would not be certainly I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now and helping people to understand what it takes to build that type of thing. So the skills that I gained in learning how to build it from the ground up are are worth way more than the farm. I'll tell you that. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you guys were actually, you had to go buy the land as farmers, which is pretty rare, right? Like normally you're inheriting, you're just continuing on something. So huge risk.
Yeah, well, to start with, I didn't buy. I mean, there wasn't a bank that would lend me any money to go buy land, so it was all rented. Really never bought a significant amount of land until the last few years. But it took 15 years to get enough equity built up to be able to go out and buy land. So we did it mostly through renting, which is a really realistic way to run a farming business, because you really get to understand the true profit and loss of your operating business, which a lot of farmers don't understand because they're financing themselves with generational equity, right?
Sure, that makes a ton of sense. So then you go from farming for what is now 17 years, incredible. And then along that journey, you're like building this business acumen. School taught you some stuff. Life teaches you inevitably a lot more. So at what point did you have this moment where it's like, hey, I want to start sharing some of this with others? Yeah,
so we got to the point where really I had my dreams had all come true. I had the family of my dreams, the life of my dreams, the business of my dreams, was doing everything that I wanted to do, and frankly felt that I had more than I deserved. And I tried to stop. Like, I consciously put it into neutral. I just didn't want to ask for any more. That turned out to be a disaster. I'm just, I think as people, we're meant to keep moving forward in some way. And so that was not good. And once I realized I really needed to continue moving forward, I was in a peer group, and we were just, brainstorming over the course really of probably a couple of years, what was the next iteration of the farm, or how are we going to grow the farm? And you're always thinking, add another enterprise, add more acres, et cetera, et cetera. We looked at what we did best. I think what we did, better than probably most of our competitors, and that was building a team and the systems and the ability to bring people on. And I built enough of that to be able to gain myself some freedom from the farm, and really wanted to go down that road. I guess at the urging initially of that particular peer group, which I'm very appreciative of, but I wanted to go down that road. And once I started serving people, that unlocked a whole layer of purpose that I had never experienced on the farm and growing crops. I mean, you help a person to accomplish something, and just the value that you get in return is beyond anything that I've ever experienced in farming. And I had, in building my team, and I had some light bulb moments that, a lot of what I really enjoyed most about the farming part of it was when I did finally capitulate and decide I needed to gain some leadership and management skills, and learning that and being able to grow people and pour into them and find out ways to make their life better. That was, the most purposeful part of what I was doing on the farm. So we really wanted to expand that. And that's kind of led us down this road.
So you said two words there, servant and purpose. And I think two words often that, don't get enough traction these days, especially in leadership circles, right? I think purpose is an easy one. That one's, kind of a low-hanging fruit. We can always say, oh, we need to work with purpose, right? Yeah. But servant leadership, what does that mean to you? Because you don't hear a lot of guys talk about that. Sorry, not guys, girls, anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that as a leader, let's assume you have some sort of a team of some sort. It might be a work team, a sports team, your family. But all the individuals in that team have perfect potential. Okay. And I think that a lot of leaders and managers want to consciously try and build people. And I think that all you really need to do as a leader is remove the roadblocks from people and allow them to bloom to their full potential, essentially. So to me, I think that is what service means to me, and not trying to add something to people to make them more, but it's removing whatever's blocking them from becoming more, because everybody has perfect potential to become whatever they want to be. It's just, the ideas, the paradigms that they've got that's kind of stopping them. So.
Quite a reverse way of thinking, right? Because I think I was just reading an article today on productivity. Of course, productivity is all over the news, right? Low productivity. And one of the things I always challenge is, we often look at boosting productivity through skills training, right? My thing is, let's boost productivity through leadership training of those leading, right? Because to boost productivity, I think you just said it, you got to figure out, you got to train leaders on what it means to actually get the most and the best out of the people that we work alongside.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Absolutely. And I'll get stuck in my head. I think a lot and I get stuck in my head a lot. I'm an analytical person. I like to think about what's the best way to do this, the most efficient way to do that. And once in a while, I get out of that and I think about the people around me. And this started with some people on my team at the farm and thought, just what could I do to make their life better today? And when I went through with that, just their performance, it grew in ways that were sort of unexplainable. I mean, you can't measure it. There wasn't a direct input, but when you just, exactly have that reverse sort of look at it, is not trying to put in the proper system or looking over their shoulder, but what can you do for them? Not what can they do for you? We're trying to figure out how you can extract as much as you can out of them. What could you do for them? And then just watch what happens and how they grow and serve your business.
Yeah, they become the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
I think it's easy also to talk about this in the, butterflies and rainbows context. Hard to do. Kind of weirds people out at times as well because they're not used to actually this type of leadership style. What are some of those challenges you've seen along the way?
Yes, and as we moved into this I guess style of management and leadership, we have evolved our team because some people are very uncomfortable with it. It doesn't fit them. Some people want to just be told what to do and be micromanaged and are basically a robot. And there's a place for them. This isn't necessarily that place, So there is an evolution of that, but trying to help people to understand why we do these things, why it's important. And I do like to understand at a pretty granular level why these particular strategies work over these other particular strategies. And Leaders Eat Last, Simon Sinek wrote a really great book on it that, to me, that was a real light bulb moment about, sort of dopamine-based leadership versus serotonin and oxytocin-based leadership and different methods of motivation and building teams and that family bonding and how much stronger those bonds are, and the teams you build are going to be much stronger and longer lasting. Even though that dopamine-based motivation is really strong in the short term, it just doesn't last very long. So,
no, that's right. And there's plenty of studies out there that show that the benefit that we get as human beings from doing something good for other people, right? And it compounds because then others see us doing it, and it goes and it goes and it goes. And I don't know, it becomes addictive, I find. Like when you do something good, you get a lot of good feelings out of that, right? And I was like, ooh, I like that. I want to do it more.
Yeah. And those chemicals just last a lot longer in your body. Yeah. Like, it is a better way to live life. So that has been, to me, I think that our purpose in life, or the reason that we're here, I mean, we're required to grow, to continue growing. What exactly does that mean? It's a natural law. We grow or we die. Everything around us, that's just the way it is. What does that mean exactly? You can grow your bank account endlessly, and I don't feel necessarily a sense of purpose behind it. So I think that we need to grow in service to others. That connection to service at some point is what will give you the fulfillment. There's sort of a science or an equation to achievement. It's relatively easy, but there's an art to fulfillment. And you need both of those to really be truly a successful person, I think.
Love that quote, actually. That's fantastic. So you've now started a company, Kaizen
Solutions. Yes, sir.
Kaizen Solutions. So you've taken this passion that you have, this purpose you found, and you've now turned it into a consulting company.
Yeah.
Who's your audience on this right now?
So it's the ag industry is where I've come from. So that's who I resonate with right now. You kind of touched on the top of the show when you said it's not necessarily the strategies and the systems and the hard work that's going to get you to the next level. Well, when I first started this, that is what I thought I had done that I could help other people do, right? I built some systems in my business that allowed me to get away. So right now we're in the middle of seeding. I coached baseball last night. I'm on a podcast this afternoon. I'm not going to see the drill potentially till we're done seeding because, we've got good enough people and good enough processes in place. I thought it was the processes that was the key. What I didn't realize is that processes are really just ideas or new habits. And if people don't understand themselves and understand the ideas that are stopping them, or how to install new ideas, they aren't going to take your systems and make success out of them, make use of them, right? Because we live in a world now, I mean, this is evolving quite quickly, where knowledge is no longer a limiting factor for anybody. I mean, we've all got more. It's not an
excuse.
Absolutely not. We've all got more than we use, and what we don't have, we hold in the palm of our hand right there. And you can ask AI and it'll give you a nice packaged solution to whatever you want, yet you still won't take it and put it to use in your life on a consistent basis. So it's like, why are people not able to take this information and actually make changes? And I had gone through this myself as well, and really sort of a journey of self-discovering and understanding how I worked best back when I had shifted the farm and my life started into neutral, thinking that I was doing the proper thing. I went through some really serious anxiety, like pretty crippling. And it was at that point, like my mind was it was effectively broken. And I'm not one to go and ask for help. I had to figure out how it works so that I could maintain it myself going forward. And I've done a lot of work on that and understanding my mind and how it works, and how to optimize it. And it is that part that I'm probably more passionate about than the strategies and the systems. Now, you need to put them all together. And in our program, that's what we do. But the foundation really is about understanding the individual of in any business. You need to lead yourself before you can lead anybody else. And you need to understand yourself before you can lead yourself and have a great relationship. So that's the foundation. And we can wrap the strategies and systems around that. Frankly, that's the easy stuff. I mean, you can get that anywhere. Understanding yourself and knowing how you work and how you tick, that's a lot more challenging.
Yeah, and those can be some brutally honest conversations when you're looking in the mirror, and extremely unpleasant at times as well.
Yeah.
When we think about, and I was actually quite excited when I was prepping for this, because I don't think there's a lot of talk about how we often limit our own potential, right? We hold ourselves back and we find that ceiling and we think the ceiling is it, right? Yeah. I want your take on that. Like this is obviously hugely important to you of helping leaders break through that ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah. Something that I still struggle with. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, so we're coming out of basically a knowledge economy. Okay. We went through an industrial economy and a labor economy, industrial economy, now and a knowledge economy. We're kind of leaving that because knowledge is everywhere. Everybody's got access to it. It's
everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, it was for a while though. If you had the knowledge, you were going to be successful. That's not the case anymore. Now we're going into a time where I think imagination again is going to be the most important factor in what makes people successful, being able to think about things that don't currently exist. So one of the most challenging things that I have when I work with clients, and I'm challenged with this myself, is what do they want? Like, what does a person want? And the value of a goal is to cause you to stretch yourself into something that you currently aren't. That's truly the value of a goal. It gives you, that's why you have a reason to grow up or to get up out of bed every day and pursue this goal. That is your purpose in life, is to grow into a new version of yourself consistently. And in the first half of our life, that's all very natural, right? We go, like, life is like a play with a series of acts, and you kind of play a different character all the way through it. And then you get to midlife and you've really accomplished all the things that you were sort of naturally wired to grow towards. And now you've got some decisions to make. You can either shift into neutral, and that effectively is a long, slow death in the humans. That's just the process. Or you can consciously try and find new ways to grow and reiterate yourself. Now, the challenge is that you mentioned is that their imaginations don't work beyond what they currently know, your current paradigm. So what you think you're capable of is directly correlated to all the things you've done in your life, and which is very natural, right? But if you've never climbed Mount Everest, you don't think you're capable of it. Well, I guarantee you are capable of it. You just haven't thought about it yet.
Yeah, and you haven't put the work in to actually make it a reality, right?
Yeah.
That's been the biggest thing that I've noticed in conversations I've had, and I think you and I have been on similar trajectory as far as that self-assessment, self-learning, recognition of where we're at and where we want to go. But that's an incredibly, I find, hard thing to get across. And I don't care whether it's getting, a 20-year-old doesn't understand it yet because they're not at the point in life where they need to. But I see so many people just marching that, whatever you want to call it, going into neutral, walking that slow death. And it actually saddens me now. I was just saying to my wife, we were driving back from Picture Butte, and reflecting on my previous work history and how we got to where we are today. And I said, man, if I had actually not been fired in that moment, 22 years ago, I wouldn't be doing any of the fun shit I'm doing right now, right? And it actually saddened me for a minute in the truck. And I'm like, what would my life look like? Would I be that zombie? So I love the fact you're trying to break people out of that mentality.
Yes. And the people that I work with are 9 out of 10 of them are really exceptional people because they're willing to make that move and get uncomfortable when they haven't hit rock bottom. Most people get fired, whatever it is, hit their rock bottom, whatever that is, and that forces them into that growth mode out of their comfort zone, right? Because growth is always going to be uncomfortable. Okay, so as long as we're comfortable, it takes a really exceptional person to want to face that fear and all of that discomfort just for the sake of growing, right? A few exceptional people do that over and over and over again, and it's what makes life so comfortable for everybody else. I suppose that's the irony of it. And we've never lived in we kind of give the world a bad rap right now, and it's a terrible place. It's never been a better place. There's more comfortable people in the world than there ever has been, but comfort is a very dangerous place to be. Yeah, absolutely. And it takes an exceptional person to want to break out of that comfort zone without having rock bottom force you out of it.
Josh, I think you literally just solved the world's problems right there with that one statement, and I'm not even joking. There are more comfortable people in the world today than there ever have been, but that's also the problem, right? It is. Yeah. And those difficult times, if you go back, you don't even have to go back that far. Like my parents are in their 80s now, they're boomers, but they traveled over on a boat from the Netherlands, right? There were difficult times that created these people. Boy, oh boy, it is comfortable 101 right now. So this is in agriculture, there's the family legacy, farm, ranch, whatever it is a big thing, right? And there's a lot of these operations that are 3, 4, maybe even 5 generations old, and you can understand the tie to that legacy. But the generation that has it now are just white knuckling it, just so desperate to hang on to that legacy. And the irony is that it was the pioneering spirit that built that legacy. It was the person that was willing to get on the ship, go across the pond to this unknown land, right? And my great grandparents lived in a dugout on the side of the hill in central Saskatchewan the first winter they were here. February in Saskatchewan, and you're not in a house or anything. We could barely survive. Now we've got fossil fuels and Netflix, and it's tough to get by winter. So what they went through, it's unfathomable to believe what they were willing to go through. But they had a strong enough push towards doing it. There just wasn't enough comfort there, and they were willing. They wanted it bad enough. They had a strong enough desire that they were willing to literally risk their lives, and some of them paid with their lives, so that we can have what we have now. And I think that we owe it to that generation. When I tell clients that are in that mode, the best thing you can do to honor that legacy is to iterate that farm or that ranch or that operation and keep it going, even if it risks otherwise it's going to die a long, slow death. It's guaranteed. Yeah. Yeah. And that's interesting because, whether it's a farm or whether it's business, there are legacy systems in place, right? Yeah. So what are you seeing out there right now? Obviously you're going to be working with people who mostly have that growth mindset, right? So you're probably going to be a little bit jaded towards that, but in that legacy farm, in that legacy business environment, are you now starting to see a little bit more of that, I want to make this my own? And I think more important, the question I want to ask is, are you seeing that other generation able to let go?
So I have attracted more clients that are, I would say, first generation in their business. I suppose that's because what I did. Now I do have some clients and work with people that are multi-generational. They're working through those succession issues, and those are exceptionally challenging because of what you said, that the older generation, number one, the younger generation has to be willing to take it on. And the people I work with are growth mindset, and they're willing to think outside the box and do different things. But they're facing a very strong challenge in that the people that actually are holding the key to the chest are comfortable. They're very comfortable, right? And so that is exceptionally challenging. Something that I never had to go through. Another one of the benefits of me having to start, from scratch without my parents' direct help, owning the farm, is that I only ever had to answer to myself. And I think my dad in particular would have been very good he's always been happy to kind of hand over the decision making, but I've been very fortunate that way. But yeah, that is an incredible challenge. And, how I navigate that largely with clients is basically become a salesperson. And it doesn't matter what you're doing in life. And this is something I really learned in becoming a coach, is that life is all about sales. You're always selling your ideas, and sell your ideas. What is it that your parents or that generation wants? And how can you create a package that solves their problem and sell that to them that also serves what you want? And if you approach it from that standpoint, that is probably the best way to get traction on that.
Yeah, identify pain point, understanding that, someone, one person in the business pain point might be different from somebody who started the business, right? They don't see that as pain. They're just happy. They're comfortable. We've always done it this way. Let's just keep doing it this way. It's just farming. We're growing, whatever, right? And you see it all over business right now too. Like, this is the ultimate time in the economies where, that generation is aging out of their businesses, right? Yet it seems like nobody is really planning on what succession looks like. Like, the statistics are absolutely wild. Yeah. And I know I always tell my kids, I got a 20 and a 23-year-old, you will never find more opportunity in the world than you guys are about to experience if you're willing to put in that little bit of extra work.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exciting. And so I have worked with some clients that are first generation or wanting to get into it. And that's basically what they're doing, is finding people who are aging out of their operations who don't necessarily want to sell, but they don't want to operate it. And there's tremendous opportunity there for young people that want to get into business.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Let's talk about leaders, ceilings. What is the most common thing you're seeing out there right now that gets people stuck? Maybe they don't even realize they've hit a ceiling or they have a ceiling.
So I've kind of got 4 core ideas there that are critical for, I think, just having a successful mindset. But one of them is the fact that you are inherently worthy, and worthy of what? Well, worthy of whatever you can imagine, but I think just worthy of love, and that people are loved, and they don't have to. People are trying to do so much good, I think, so that they will be loved and can feel love and can experience love, and you can never do enough good to be loved, because you already are. Like, it's inherent. It just because you're created, you're God's highest form of creation. You are loved, and I think that idea right there is stopping a lot of people that I see, and they think that it's the strategy and it's this and that, but there almost always is some very deep-seated fundamental belief that is actually stopping your progress as an individual, which means as a leader of other people. And you have to generally dig reasonably deep to find that, rebuild the idea around that, and that will set you free. Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, the other thing that I was going to say is a misunderstanding of fear is probably another big one that I see. And I think intuition, understanding your intuition, reading your gut and following your heart is really important. But oftentimes we'll mistake fear as God saying this isn't for you, sort of a thing. And when you understand fear, you understand that that's not the case, and you can actually transcend it. You don't just accept fear. You start to embrace it as the path forward, because once you've kind of come up against that terror barrier and been on the other side of it and experienced that freedom, those scary situations become very exciting, and you constantly you start seeking them out. And when I started going on to podcasts, it was incredibly scary at the beginning, and you get onto the other side of that, and it's tremendous freedom. Anytime you are at a decision point and you commit and make that decision and get to the other side of that, that phone call that you have been not making for days or weeks or whatever it is, and you make it. It doesn't matter if it goes well or not. It's freedom on the other side of it. So understanding fear and how that holds people back is a huge key.
That's interesting. If you're open to it, I'd like to take a little diversion here, and I want to talk about your faith. Obviously, you're a man of God.
Yeah.
So how has that shaped? Because everything I'm hearing, and you and I are similar this way, servant leadership, even what you just talked about, that fear of failure, I don't think God puts things in front of us for us to decide yes or no. I think it's an opportunity for us to explore who we are as an individual, right? And take away lessons from that. But how has that shaped you along this journey?
As being a man of God and a man of faith, there in any situation, you've got two options. You can choose fear, you can choose faith. They're the opposite end of the spectrum. In everything that happens to us, I look at it as essentially neutral, and how your perspective of it will determine the effect that it has in your life. You take a negative view of it, it's going to be negative. You take a positive, it's going to be positive. And the negative is fear-based and the positive is faith-based. And it's this idea that everything in life is happening for you, not to you. That is another one of our core four, ideas that are just, it's critical for life. Because if you look at everything every little road bump as being something trying to hold you back from getting to where you're at, life's going to be, it's a bumpy ride. I mean, there's potholes all over the place, especially in Saskatchewan. But
in the spring,
yes,
that was a good one.
Yeah. But if you can look at it as everything in life is happening for you, not to you, then it just changes your perspective on life, and you will now start looking for the opportunity in every challenge, because there's no challenge presented to you that doesn't have an equal opportunity attached to it somewhere. And man, there's some tough things that happen, and it's hard to figure out how that can possibly be true. But it is true. And if that is your mindset, that will unlock anything you can imagine, really. So that has been, really fundamental.
Yeah, well, and I can see that for sure. Do you, I don't want to, stay on this for too long, but do you find, the world's a very secular place right now, right? We're finding every reason to walk away from faith, not to it. Albeit, I actually think there is a bit of a shift happening right now. I think that's, a lot of people will acknowledge that. But when you present that idea to somebody that this is happening, not to you, but for you, does it do you also then have to dive a little deeper into that and really get into it? And what are some of the challenges you've seen through that?
So, I mean, that is just an idea, and it's really hard to prove it as true, right? And I would say that idea isn't necessarily true. It's only true if you accept it. Because if you reject it, then the opposite is going to be true, right? So you have to choose, but that's what God gave us, is free will, right? The ability, and free will is, like, a lot of us think that willpower is our ability to do whatever we want to do when we want to do it, right? You need to go work out. It's you force yourself to go work out. Free will really just means the ability to choose what we focus our attention on, the thoughts that go through our mind. So if that's the thought that I want to be true because it's going to make my life better, then that's what I'm going to accept, and that will be true. Is that a fundamental truth in life? I don't know. I mean, I think there is only truth, and then there's derivatives of truth, and that's a pretty deep question. I don't know if we've got time to flesh that out.
Version 2, but I might have to bring some other people in on that one. I'm kind of like,
no, exactly. But it is, to me, I would say that, I was born into a Christian family. I never took it seriously for a long time, which I think probably is not terribly uncommon. You're young and just busy living life. And my sister was killed in a car accident, and that was it. I got on my knees, and I needed to figure things out. Like, I needed to know where she was and what happened. So that was when I got really serious about pursuing truth, and truth led me to God and the God of the Bible. And that's it. That's the best I can figure it out based on all the evidence that I've been able to put together. Frankly, before that, I probably was hesitant to pursue it because I was worried that it would lead me away from that. Maybe, I was university educated, I was supposed to be too smart to listen to these silly stories. I don't know, but these sort of ideas that in a secular society that can be presented to you. So that led me down that road to really pursuing truth and what is true. And that led me to God, more so than God leading me to the truth, if that sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, even listening to that, maybe funny isn't the right word. But in a way, it sounds like you even had a bit of a rock bottom yourself earlier on in life. And I would challenge even to say that moment with your sister and that moment of clarity has created the individual that's sitting in front of me right now, right? And
absolutely,
it is what we do with what is put in front of us, right? And I think you even said that a little bit earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember that, I've had, I suppose, multiple probably rock bottoms, but that was obviously a very challenging time. Forces a person to make some serious decisions, and I'm grateful for it because of that. I can't control the outcome of it. Would I rather my sister be here? Of course, but I don't get to choose that, so I don't even entertain the thought. I can choose to be grateful or not. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it was the leadership of my parents or some people around me, but pretty early on in that process, we shifted to gratitude for everything that we had that she was there instead of being angry. And that was pretty profound impact on the impact that has had on the rest of my life.
If you're open to it, share a little bit about your family right now, because you said you've got everything you want, right? Yeah. What does family mean to you right now? Your immediate family, and what does that look like? I was on your website. I saw, pictures of you and the kids and your wife, and I think you two work alongside each other, in fact, quite a bit, right? So what does that look like?
Yeah, so we run our family a lot like a business, and we have a vision statement, a mission statement, and those are our guiding lights for making decisions in our family. So we're junior snowbirds. We own a place in Texas. We spend a good chunk of the winter there. It's like I said, it is. I have a blessed life. There's no two ways about it. But it is because of what we've decided we wanted, and then making the decisions to get us there. And my wife was a registered nurse, and she gave that up to have for our lifestyle and to be able to serve in different ways. And she was great at it. So that was not an easy decision to make. But because she made that decision, we have been able to do other things. So everything you say yes to, you're saying no to something else. So yeah, I've got a wonderful family, 4 kids, a wife. My boys are 13, then they'll be 11, 9, and 6 this year, I think is right. Yeah. So they're not all there yet, but they will be after the summer's birthdays are through. So that's how I got to remember it. But my boys we're a big baseball family. My boys really love baseball, and they're really pursuing that even from an early age, and they know what they want as far as that goes. And it started out where we were really empowering them, trying to help them to reach their goals, but it became very clear that your kids will do what you do, not what you say. So if they say, you've got to, this was actually the moment, I was telling my son, he was out working on his swing or whatever he was doing, practicing. I said, you love playing baseball, and that's really cool. At some point, you're going to have to love the stuff that doesn't feel good, like the not playing the game, working out, doing squats till your legs burn, you can't move,
watching tape, whatever, right?
Whatever it is, putting in the work. And it was a light bulb moment that I need to show them what it looks like to chase a dream, not tell them what it looks like, right? So that was a couple of years ago, and that was a bit of a bit of a spark to get this thing going and want to take it bigger than maybe what we were originally doing with just a little bit on the side, was just to show them what it's like to chase a dream and chase something you want. Because I think that as parents, or if your only purpose in life or what you want is just to support somebody else to reach their goals, they're going to do the same thing, and nobody's ever going to actually achieve the thing that they want to achieve. So we're trying to show them what it looks like to chase what you want, and while still certainly empowering them to be able to do what they want. So,
yeah, definitely. And so, by the way, virtual high fives to junior snowbirds. I've never actually heard it called that before, and I absolutely love it. So, we have the luxury and good fortune as well to spend some time away in the winter. Homeschooling your kids, I'm also assuming.
Yes. Yeah. Which was another big, scary sort of decision.
Huge decision.
And my wife has taken that on, and it was lots of growing pains with that, for sure. But now we wouldn't have it any other way. Just what it has freed us up to do. It's been amazing.
Yeah, and how much fun is it to get to? A lot of people question it. I work with both my kids as well, and it's a blessing. It honestly is. It's not every day is great, but I feel very fortunate to have that entire family unit right beside me every single day. There's no question about it. So you are blessed for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 Let's get back into leaders and owners a little bit. So you've built your work around the idea that identity can drive results. What does that mean to you?
Your mind is a cybernetic mechanism. It is like a thermostat. Okay. So if you set it at 72 degrees, it's my thermostat set at 72 degrees in here. It's going to automatically, actually, I don't have air conditioning. So today it's getting a little bit warm, but it should, in a perfect world, it'll automatically adjust. If it gets a little bit hotter, it's going to self-adjust back down. And the way you see yourself is your self-image, and you will never outperform your self-image. Okay. So if you see yourself as, let's say you see yourself as just a farmer where your kids help you and that's it, you're never, and you don't see yourself as a manager, a leader, a business owner, you're never going to be able to bring people onto your business and scale it in that sort of a way, if that's what you want. So you have to change the identity first before you can really put in the skills and make the changes long term. You could be, if you have the identity of that business owner who just works with your family and you don't know how to manage outside people, you could have the best person in the world fall into your lap, come work in your business, and you'll find a way to get rid of them because that's your identity, So that's it. You have to create the identity. So we talked about life being a play, and in every play or every act, you play a different character. Well, when you get to an act, you get to define what you want at the end of that act, right? But you have to define the character that plays that role. And then you just start acting as if you are that person. So I wrote an article, I think in Brains Magazine. It's called The Secret Skill of Success. And I think that acting is really the secret skill of success. And I've watched some Netflix videos. And these are not Netflix. Yeah, it was documentaries on guys that they did bad things, but it's the same skill set. They're very successful at it. The cocaine quarterback, I think that was one of them, right?
Well,
he didn't know what he was
fraudsters,
doing.
everybody.
Yeah. They just act as if they are what they want to become, and they find a way to get there, right? Now, define that character pretty carefully, because if you just say, well, I want to be a multimillionaire, and you're not defining how you want to do it, you might do it in some nefarious ways, right? So you do want to define that character. You get to write your script to a very large degree. So be intentional when you write it. But yeah, you define the person that you want to be that has the thing that you want to have, and then start acting as that person. You get the thing. People often just chase the goal. Right. You chase the person that has the goal.
Right. Without actually thinking as an individual yourself. You're different from Bob, right? Yeah. Bob managed to get that. But I think with anything, if you're chasing a dollar sign, it's going to be a pretty rough go, no matter what, right? Yeah. Dollar sign is a pretty shitty purpose in a big picture.
It's no purpose. Anything that's got a number makes for a good goal, but you have to understand what goes into that, right? If you're just chasing the dollar sign, you'll get there. If you're really skilled at this, you'll get there, but there won't be any fulfillment in it. Right.
No, you'll be empty by the time you get there. So,
that's right.
100 times breakthrough.
Yeah.
So that is kind of your guys' catchphrase per se.
Yeah.
Walk us through that.
Yeah. So, I mean, Ben Hardy is a great author. I really appreciate him. And Dan Sullivan has got some great strategic coach, has some great ideas. And 10X is easier than 2X was a really great book, really great concept. I wanted to go 10 times bigger than 10X. So it's 100X breakthrough. The idea is really what is behind it is if you can tell me what you want, I'll tell you how you can get it. But it is speaking to me from 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Most coaches, consultants, leaders, that's who they are leading is the old version of themselves, because that's what they know. It's people that are stuck. And just not sure how to get out or how to break through. And that's what this is. So it brings awareness. The number one awareness is finding out what you really want, because without knowing what you want, what direction you want to go to, you can't make a decision. When you know what you want, the beauty of really making one committed decision is all future decisions are made for you. And decision making is a challenging thing for good decision makers. So that's an important skill. But yeah, understand what you want, and then the awareness of the things that are stopping you from getting there, which can be the things like your self-image, how you see yourself, some of those ideas, the ideas in your paradigm that are the limiting beliefs. Really, that's it. The idea that you have to do X amount to be loved, or you're not worthy. Those are really foundational, but they can be other simple, much more simple ideas, and you just have to rewire those beliefs and understand how to put in new ideas and new beliefs and a new strategy, a new system, a new way of holding meetings in your business is just a new idea or belief that needs to be formed into a habit. You need to understand how to do that.
So how hard is it? Because that is a saying, right? Like 2x is harder than 10x. Definitely. Yeah. How hard is 2x when you're at 1?
Most people are giving 100% of what they've got already, especially entrepreneurs, like people that are ambitious, that want more, are generally giving 100% of what they've got. So 2x is not an option because you don't have 110%. You sure don't have 200%, right? So people are chasing 2x and getting 105% just out of sheer will, and the rest of their life is becoming destroyed. The idea behind 10xing that is stepping back and thinking about a completely different way of doing it, right? So that's the mad. It is a different way of thinking, not a different way of doing. I mean, the thinking leads to different doing. But yeah, hard work is a very valuable skill and resource, but harder work is not the answer.
Right. And that's what I was hoping to get out of you on that, because I think that's a huge misnomer is, there are not 40 hours in a day for certain people, right? Yeah. And doubling your own productivity isn't an option unless you leverage other great people to help you do that, right? And in order to do that, you need to, as I have been told time and time again, start working in the business or on the business, not in the business, right? That's right. But that goes for life as well. Like, there's Jim Rohn has a thing where it's like if you're making, if you're worth $200 an hour, right, in doing what you do, why are you booking your own plane, right? Your own travel plans. You can pay someone $25 an hour to do that. Yeah. But I think until people start to realize that there are other people that love doing the stuff I hate doing, number one, that I could give up and I might free up 30, 40% of my time right there just by quitting doing the things I don't like doing in the first place. Yeah.
And that right there is an idea that most people have never even considered. The fact that there's people that would love to do what you don't like to do, right? And there's people that would just love cleaning toilets. They just get a kick out of it, right? I mean, that's not necessarily me, but people love it. And some people are really analytical, really, really great at administrative roles. Some people are not. But that is just one of those sort of micro ideas that you have to accept that that's true. And then you can start actually finding one of those people that would help you. And now you start complementing each other and filling in for holes and gaps, and magic can happen. Yeah.
And guess what? 2x, 3x, 4x, 10x.
Yeah.
100x. 100x. Exactly. Yeah. When it comes to leadership, one of the words you use a lot is intentional. Yeah. What does it take to move someone from being reactive to being intentional in decision making and just day-to-day personal operations?
Know what you want ahead of time. That's it. I mean, I think that would be as simple as that. If you know what you want, like I just mentioned a little bit earlier on, and the bigger your goal is, the more powerful it is as a decision-making tool. If you're so I use the weight loss goal all the time. I was trying to lose some weight and I had some reasonable success with the keto and whatnot, but I hit this plateau. Okay. And I was just managing my diet, but there's so many options. There's so many ways to manage your diet. You've got a bazillion options. So eventually I gave up, hired an online personal trainer. He came in, put me on a 1,600 calorie a day diet I had to get 175 grams of protein in. There's like very few options to meet that protein at that level of calories. Because it was such a strong goal that I was going towards, all my decisions were made. I didn't have to look at a donut and think, am I going to eat this? It was already made. The decision's made, right?
Did you pour a protein shake on it, or?
Well, when you actually imagine it, there's a lot of, you can have protein donuts and other, I mean, they got all kinds of great stuff. But so that's what happens again, when you set your goal on something very lofty, your imagination will go to work on how can I make this more enjoyable. But yeah, that's the biggest thing, is knowing what you want and making a committed decision to that. When you've done that, most all the other decisions that come to you are already made.
Are there rhythms or structures that have worked for you? Like, again, I love how you said it, often as leaders, we're just leading the previous version of ourselves. What are some of those rhythms and structures that have worked for you over the years to get to where you're at today?
I think that probably the biggest single thing was grabbing control of my mornings and making sure that I did all the most important things that I needed to do in the morning before the world took over my day. And if you not trying to do too much in a day, people have got a laundry list of things they want to do in a day. The reality is, if you marked out your top 3 important things to do every day and just did those first thing in the morning, that would be, I don't know the math, but it's over 1,000 high leverage things a year. If you did 1,000 high leverage things a year, think about how far ahead your life would move. And most people are trying to go and do a list this long every day and don't get any of it done because they're overwhelmed. So for me, the rhythm has been being intentional the night before about setting up what I'm going to do in the morning. So when I get up in the morning, I don't have to think. I don't have to make decisions. I wear white t-shirts like almost all the time, so I don't have to make that decision. I don't want to use my decision-making power on what I'm going to wear. So willpower won't work. It's another Ben Hardy book. But it's a great book. You should read it. But it's about setting up your environment so that you limit the amount of decisions that you simply have to make. So you save your willpower for the big important decisions. You have more willpower in the morning. Do the most important things in the morning. And if you get control of your life or control of your mornings and write out 3 things every night, that'll be the most 3 important things you could do the next day, and do them first thing in the morning, you would not recognize where you're at
and it's out of the way, it's done, and all of a sudden everything moves quickly. On another note, I think you should probably maybe reach out to like a few t-shirt companies, because if that's all you're wearing, you got an advertisement potential here. I see it happening. So even on the podcast, you can be like, buy Hanes t-shirts or something. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah, that is funny though. You're simplifying life. It's like I take away those decisions that just don't need to be made. I know I'm a person, I lay my clothes out every single night for the next morning, right? I'm not fumbling in drawers and now, everything else. So what is, you talk about freedom, you talk about how, when you gain control of this, you start becoming intentional. Freedom becomes a residual effect of that. Now, freedom is also probably very individualistic to people, but on a holistic level, what would you classify freedom as when you're working with people? Great question.
I'm going to borrow another Dan Sullivan concept. He has the 4 freedoms. To me, for freedom of time, money, purpose, and relationship. And to me, what I always wanted most was time, because it's the one thing that we don't know how much we've got, and we have a completely limited supply. We don't know what it is, right? Money, we can always get more. Now, the value in money is it can buy your time back. So you can pursue money. That's my biggest use in money, is being able to buy back my time. Once you have control of your time, if you bought all of your time back, that's kind of what retirement is. What are you going to do with it? And if you don't have something to do with it, you're done, literally. So the stats, these are old stats, but the average age that a man lived beyond retirement, I think this is from like the 90s, was 3 years. A man would die within 3 years of retirement. Yeah. You lose your purpose.
No purpose. Yeah.
That's it. So then I was like, boom, maybe time isn't the most important thing. What good is all the time in the world if you have no purpose, right? And even if you've got a purpose and you don't have anybody to share it with, what would the world, if you're the love painting and creating beautiful art and nobody ever looks at it, what good is it, right? So I do think that it's holistic in that way. I think that, money is important, but just because it can buy you time, and time allows you to serve your purpose. And if you don't have anybody to share it with, then you don't have a whole lot worth anything. So whatever one of those is shortest, whichever one of those buckets is most empty, that's the one that I want to focus on filling up at that given time, and creating. That's how I create more holistic freedom in my life.
And it's evolutionary, right? Like it depends where you're at in life. Those buckets are filled at different levels, and people have to be ready to accept that sometimes where you're at today may not be where you want, but if you can lean into that bucket that's got a little more in it in that moment, maybe a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, then it changes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. What does stewardship mean to you? We touched a little bit on that, obviously, as a servant leader, but what does stewardship mean to you, not just in business, but also in life within your community?
Responsibility, I think, is the biggest thing. And as a farmer, obviously farming land is important, having land is important, owning land for a lot of people is important. For me, I've never had that real strong desire to own a lot of land, because I don't really think that we own it. We only own the right to steward
it. Yeah, to steward it. Yeah.
And that is the word that I use when I think about how we're using land. Is we are responsible for it. It is not ours. It belongs to everyone, I think, holistically, basically. So it is our job to steward it and take care of it responsibly the best that we can.
Mm-hmm. Love it. A couple more questions for you. How do you grow a business without sacrificing your values and relationships?
Values, we set out our core values for our business, for our family, same thing. And we only bring in people, and we only do business with people that we share our core values with. And if I've done it, every business owner has done it. They sacrifice those values for some short-term gain somewhere, and you just pay double or triple or 10x down the road. So once you've been through that, I would think that everybody's going to make that mistake. They're not going to listen to anybody. You're going to have to live it probably and live the consequences. Once you've been through it, you'll get stronger on your values all the time. Your values, that is who you are. If you're willing to sell them out, then you're selling yourself out, and you lose personal integrity. And when your integrity with yourself erodes, you can't have a relationship with yourself, and you're in big trouble. The relationship part of it, I think that's a give and take. And I've got an incredible wife who's been incredibly supportive of what we're trying to do, understanding, again, the long-term vision, because when you're in the middle of the busy seasons, you're not the best husband. You're not always necessarily there. You're not helping out as much. It is not a 50-50 deal. That's for darn sure. She's keeping the wheels on things and keeping everybody fed and doing everything else. But it's all because we understand the long-term vision where we're going. So it's a bit about short-term pain for long-term gain. And if you're not both on the same page, then it's probably not. If you're in the same boat, you're not going to the same destination. You're just rowing against each other.
Yeah, and I think you tied them really nicely together. I think, relationships do come and go, but I think, the ones that are founded on those core values of who you are, whether it's as an individual or as a family or as a business, you will attract those people, right? And those relationships become easier to maintain and sustain as well.
Yeah, that's you nailed it. And don't be shy about who you are and what your core values are. Like when we're interviewing people that want to come into our organization, this is who we are. And I'll tell them, don't BS me. I know that you can tell me that this is what you believe in. If you don't, it's going to surface in the first 3 months or 6 months or 2 years, and it's not going to be good for anybody. So this is who we are. Don't come if you don't. I respect you if you don't agree with this, but we're not going to be a good fit.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And the same goes for marrying our spouses, right? So.
Yeah. And, that's ironically, I think that can happen at an age that's so young that a lot of people have not defined their values good enough, and I think that I probably lucked out maybe more than good management in who I got hooked up with. Because I don't know that I had my values dialed in as much as I really would have liked to at that age. But so that is something I would sure like to instill in my kids, is a real sense of who they are, who they want to be, and don't sacrifice that for anybody or anything.
No, couldn't agree more. I want to end this with a few rapid fire questions, if you're okay with that.
Yes, sir.
All right. Walk me through a belief you have had to either unlearn a belief you had to unlearn in order to grow.
That there's people that want to do the things that I don't want to do. That's probably the biggest thing. To be able to let go, that less is more. I need to let go of things in order to do more of other things. Yeah. Letting go is definitely a big thing.
Yeah. One habit that keeps you grounded.
Meditation.
Okay. Best advice for a successful but stuck business owner.
Book a call with me.
That was okay. Nailed that one. And that was great. What does freedom by design look like in your life?
Being very intentional, designing where we want to go. That is all about our family. That's our podcast, Paul and I's podcast. We host it together. That came out of us sitting around one morning, drinking coffee, talking about things like we always do, and not just the weather, but having pretty good conversation and thinking, let's just record this and maybe somebody will get something out of it. But it's about going through the process, which is the same process we use in our business to set our vision, our mission, and our direction. And then every decision we make is based on that. We are designing the freedom that we have.
Fantastic. Honestly, Josh, this was a ton of fun. I feel like we could seriously go on for like half a day. So the good news is I have enough context. I was joking about it before. There's something in the water in Saskatchewan. I just had another lady on here not long ago. She started up Three Farmers Food. I got another guy who did peel phone cases up in Saskatoon. So one of these days, I'm just getting in my vehicle. I'm going to drive up there, and I got to come meet all you cool people in Saskatchewan. So,
yes, sir. Well, the door is always open.
Yeah. Well, and I can probably see you when I look out my window.
Yeah, that's true enough. Yeah, that's true enough.
Awesome, Josh. Thanks again for your time today, and great plug. I hope you maybe generate a little business out of this for the 8 people that are going to watch it. But whatever, Levi, do a clip on, at least do one clip on him like promoting himself. Okay.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, really good, Josh. Thank you.
Thank you.